When Grandma Tzeitel in Fiddler on the Roof sang, "A blessing on your head, mazel tov, mazel tov," I always felt a spiritual curiosity, maybe even envy. For Grandma Tzeitel was offering Tevye a very personal blessing, and I was not acquainted with those kinds of blessings. As a child, the blessing was something we said to honor or thank God. We said blessings over candles, wine, and challah. At Jewish camp, I learned the Birkat Hamazon, the blessings we say in thanks after we've eaten. Blessings were always directed toward an action, a ritual, and an object. The idea that one received a personal blessing was foreign to me. It wasn't typical to hear in my household, "God bless you," following a sneeze. And even though I sang "God Bless America," the idea of receiving a personal blessing never crossed my mind. In this week's Torah portion, Naso, in the book of Bamidbar, we have the most well-known blessing directed to the people of Israel and to each individual Israelite. It is offered by the Kohanim, the priests, and we know it as Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benediction. And it is very personal and very old. In 1979, during an excavation of the ancient burial cave at Ketef Hinnom, which are located outside the walls of Jerusalem, archaeologists led by Gabriel Barkai found nearly 1,000 ancient artifacts. And among those artifacts were 2 tiny silver scrolls about 1 inch long. It took 3 years to figure out how to unroll them without them just disintegrating into dust. And when they did, they found, among other texts, Birkat Kohanim. What was so very amazing was that they dated these scrolls back to the 6th century BCE and the last days of the first temple, destroyed in 586. These 2 tiny silver scrolls were 4 centuries older than the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they were the oldest biblical texts known to have existed. What makes these verses resonate with Jews and with Christians as well? Daber el Aharon ve'el banav le'emor kol tivarchu et bnei Yisrael amor lahem. Speak to Aaron and his sons, said God. Thus shall you bless the people of Israel. Say to them, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May Adonai bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face, may God's countenance be turned, be uplifted towards you, giving you peace. And then it closes with, V'samu et shmi al b'nei Yisrael va'ani avarchem. Thus they shall link my name with the people of Israel, and I, says God, will bless them. These verses, ascending from 3 words to 5 words to 7 words, connect human beings to God in 3 very personal areas: material, spiritual, and emotional. And all 3 are needed. They're all necessary for us to live a fulfilled, productive, and meaningful life. May God bless you and protect you. Rashi explains that to be blessed refers to material goods, and protect means that no one can take them away. And Seforno adds that with wealth, one can create an environment for Torah observance. And he bases this on a section from Avot, Im ein kemach, ein Torah. We used to sing a song with those words. Without flour, F-L-O-U-R, there is no Torah. And of course, flour means dough, means money. So that's the blessing. We all want the blessing of having enough stuff, and we want our stuff protected. But the sages say it is not only from robbers or a bad stock market that one needs to be protected. Sometimes one needs to be protected from the blessing itself. For, as we may know, One can have it too good. One can take for granted financial blessings and desire even more. And one might separate themselves from the needs of those around them and perceive the world as a place for one's own benefit. May God bless you with all the material things you need and love, and may God protect you so your blessing does not become an obstacle to your best self. The second verse is a spiritual blessing. May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you. And here Sephorno explains that the light is to open one's eyes and appreciate all the wonderful things that God has done and keeps on doing. May your eyes be illuminated by the light of God's face to see wonders in God's Torah and God's works after you obtain your needs through God's blessings. So now, after we have the stuff that we need, we are blessed to have our eyes opened to understand where it has come from. The blessing one receives is the ability to acknowledge the divine. It reminds one that the bounty received in the first blessing wasn't due to luck or even one's own genius. And when one understands that there is a divine presence in one's life, one is never completely alone. And as the number of words of the blessings increase, the ideas are becoming more intimate and more personal. We began with our material needs, and then were blessed with spiritual awareness. Both of these ideas build to a climax of the third verse of the blessing. May God's countenance be lifted to you and grant you peace. Lord Rabbi Jonathan Sacks tells the story in his book, Studies in Spirituality. A crowd of people have gathered on a hill by the sea to watch a great ship pass by. A young child is waving vigorously. One of the men in the crowd asks him why. He says, "I am waving to the captain of the ship so he can see me and wave back." But said the man, "The ship is so very far away, and there is a crowd of us here. What makes you think the captain can see you?" "Because," said the boy, "the captain of the ship is my father. He will be looking for me among the crowd." God lifts God's face towards us, each of us standing in the crowd. Regardless of our troubles or troublesome nature, God is ready to sing to us, "A blessing on your head, mazel tov," and grant us peace. For this is the kind of peace that lets us wake up in the morning ready to give the best shot we can to our day. It's the kind of peace that enables us to show compassion and empathy to another without worrying that being kind may deplete us of something that we need. And this is an inner peace that does not negate the harsh realities that might be lurking outside the door, but rather it is the peace that gives us strength to face those harsh realities just right outside our door. Birkat Kohanim is a simple rhythmic blessing of 3, 5, and 7 words that offers us material, spiritual, and emotional well-being. It's everything we need, and that is why we offer it at our holiest moments. This blessing is given to a child by their parents on a Friday night and shares the protection, hope, and joy for their safe future. The blessing is offered by the rabbis to a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah in front of the ark and connects these young people to a sense of the divine. And it's bestowed upon a couple under the chuppah as they begin their married life together, bringing inner peace to that sacred union. So, on this Shabbat, may we be blessed with all that we need for body, for spirit, and for soul. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, may God deal kindly and graciously with you, or may God's face still shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, and may God's presence, may God's face always be lifted towards you, each and every one of you and grant you peace. And let us say, Amen.